This week we visit Duncan Systems, the nation's largest RV glass replacement company, and learn all about RV glass. Then Jeff Johnston shows us a great new HD antenna from Winegard that costs less than $50. And if you're looking for a unique place to enjoy a free Thanksgiving dinner, you may want to head to Death Valley. These stories and more on this week's Rolling on TV. Rolling on TV is brought to you by Winegard, America's leading satellite TV antenna. Winegard, television anytime, anywhere. There's literally thousands of motorhomes and travel trailers on the road, and virtually every one of them has a different windshield and side glass. So where do you or your RV dealer go to find the right replacement? Odds are the glass came from Duncan Systems, America's leading RV glass replacement and repair company. Let's face it, we don't think much about the glass in our RVs until it's dirty and needs cleaning, or until we have to repair or replace it. Then, reality sets in because RV glass costs have gone up. To find out why and learn more about the RV glass, we visit with Shane Duncan, the CEO of Duncan Systems at their headquarters and main facility in Elkhart, Indiana. Before we got into talking about RV glass, I asked Shane to tell me about the company and how it all started.
It was kind of a fluke. I guess it was late 80s, early 90s. We were a repair center, and we was doing training for adjusters for the insurance industry, and had an adjuster in here. Came through, was talking to my dad's partner, and said he had a claim on an old Mallard Sprinter that was for both windshields, and he was struggling with it a bit. It was about $5,000, and the guy said it was hard to believe that, you know, two windshields was that much money. And we proceeded to tell him, well, they went out of business just recently. As a matter of fact, my dad's partner told him they were built right in this facility. And we bought some stuff at the auction, and we may have some stuff here. And one thing led to another. We go out to the back, find out that, yeah, we bought a lot of service items because we were a repair center, and there was a lot of windshields back in this big group of parts we bought. And lo and behold, these windshields were back there. So we found out that we had them in stock. We could do it immediately and save this adjuster like $3,000. Was able to do it quickly, and he went back to the main office and told the guy in charge of glass, listen, I want everything to come through Duncan. So that's what they did, and that's basically how we got started. One thing led to another. We started buying in crate quantities, and that helped us out a lot. And then before you knew it, it was right around 1996 we got our first major insurance account, and therefore we had to build a new facility and start stocking millions of dollars of glass.
From those humble beginnings, Duncan Systems now carries thousands of RV windshields and side glass. And from its 50,000 square foot facility in Elkhart, along with 2 other distribution centers in Lakeland, Florida and Chandler, Arizona, they can quickly fill virtually any RV glass need just about anywhere in the country. I asked Shane to tell us about the changes in RV glass over the years, especially pertaining to size.
With the motorhome business, it's about probably 2000, early 2000s. The one-piece windshield was introduced, and what it's done is completely changed the way that people look at the glass side of an RV. I would say in 2005, it became almost like a standard, whereas it was never even thought of before, putting a big, Panaview or one complete, glass in the front of a motorhome, which it's more for aesthetics than anything. It really kind of changed the way that people look at a motorhome since about 2005. In 2000, I'd say 4 or 5, maybe there are half a dozen models out there that were using a one-piece, and today you're probably looking at probably 90% of everything out there has a one-piece windshield in it. There's only a few half pieces. And for our business, it completely changes the way we look at it. Previous to 2005, we stocked half windshields. Pretty easy to stock half windshields. They can be stacked. You can pull them from a picker in any of our warehouses. But when you start having to stock one pieces, for us anyways, they have to be put on the ground floor. We can't pull them from a picker from the second or third or fourth level in the warehouse. So it kind of changed our dynamics. It changed the shipping dynamics. They're much harder to get to the destination. When you're not dealing with a dealership and you're dealing with glass shops like we do a lot, glass shops don't have forklifts. And so when you look at it being on a skid, it creates other problems to get these things. So there's been a lot of problems that's presented, but as far as the look of the RV, it looks much better than it used to, but there's some challenges that go with that.
Needless to say, with bigger windows and windshields comes a lot more weight, as Shane goes on to explain.
Today, the one pieces, they're probably pushing 300 and some pounds. We just created one up last week, the largest one that we carry. It's got to go overseas. The weight, total weight with the crate was like about 600 pounds. So you're talking from a boxed half of a windshield, which is the standard back 10 years ago, 50, 60, 75 pounds, and they go in a box. We ship them all over the place. Now you're dealing with crates that 600 pounds to get these things delivered.
Coming up after the break, we'll find out about a common RV glass problem and see how you can save over 50% by repairing the problem, as opposed to buying a new window. With the Winegard Traveler, you can watch any program on any TV, no matter where you are. Winegard, TV without compromise. For more information on Winegard satellite antennas, visit our website at weingarten.com. The most common glass problems that can happen to your RV or trailer is a fogged up or milky looking window. So, what can you do if you run across this problem?
It's not really if, it's when, when it comes to a fogged window. What you've got is basically you've got, again, two panes of glass that has a pocket of air in there that's sealed. What we use, and what I think all manufacturers use, some type of desiccant to absorb moisture. And what happens once you put these two panes together and then you fill the two panes on the exterior with caulk, inevitably at some point it's going to go through some type of elevation change as you're driving. You're going to go through hot and cold cycles. All these things kind of contribute to a failure at some point. Now it might be in a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 10 years, but at some point these things just finally fail. And then what that does is it fogs up, and some RVers may not even realize what's happened there, but what they've done is they've broken that seal at some point, and then you start seeing that fogging occur where it looks like there's either condensation or something's wrong with that window. Some RVers might not even know what it is, but basically their window has failed. And a couple of years ago, we started seeing these things being repaired, and that's kind of when we jumped into it and said, this is something we should offer, because the price of replacement windows has really risen over the past few years. And being some that deals with the insurance companies, we were getting challenged on that. What's happened to the price of windows? What's happened is some of these manufacturers went out of business, and some of them are only in the aftermarket. The prices just went up and up and up. So when you're talking about a cockpit window, which is the driver or passenger window of an RV, these windows now, installed price, you're talking over $1,000 by the time you get the packaging, shipping, glass, installation. the insurance companies are looking at that saying, you know, why is that so expensive when it wasn't that much, you know, just a few years ago? And, you know, we tell them that it's the manufacturers really that's driving those costs up. And especially when it's a fogged window, it's not covered by insurance. It's a general upkeep. So the customers aren't happy, the insurance companies aren't paying for it. Now they've got to foot the whole bill. They don't want to pay $1,500 out of pocket for one of these larger cockpit windows. What do? Well, now there's a service available. And basically you're talking about, you know, $275 roughly to repair a cockpit window versus, you know, $1,500 when you have to ship it, box it, pay for the glass, pay for labor. So there's a huge difference in cost when you can actually fix a problem, especially when it's not a broken window. When it's a broken window, you know, yeah, you may have to replace the window, but what we've learned is you can still repair that if it's broken, because we can replace the pane of glass. So we've applied some other models to the fogged properties that says, hey, if this thing's broken, we'll treat it, you know, like it's a fogged window. We just have to replace the pane of glass. So there's some things that we've learned, you know, as we go.
Shane also told us that you can even ship your fog windows to one of their facilities. They'll repair it and ship it back for about half the cost of a new one. If you'd like more information about RV glass or watch additional video from our interview with Shane covering subjects like repairing rock nicks, visit our website at rollingontv.com. Coming up after the break, before we head to Death Valley, Jeff shows us the new Winegard HD antenna. Now don't touch that dial.
When you look at RVs, do you see green? A green RV means more than just a color. It means energy efficiency, water efficiency, and components made from recycled materials, plus lots more. We know green RVs inside out. In fact, we certify them. To learn more about green RVs, visit our website at certifiedgreenrvs.com.
In today's RV world, there are a lot of different ways to get TV reception. These range from the standard batwing type antennas that come stock on most RVs, all the way up to signal-seeking satellite dishes. But what if you want high-definition reception for your older RV, and you can't afford to spend several $1,000s on a rooftop satellite dish or several $100s on a higher-end antenna? Our friends at Weingarten come out with a new solution to the high-definition TV reception question. It's called the Rayzor. It measures about 12 by 13 inches. It's very lightweight, weighs just a few ounces, about a few thousandths of an inch thick. It's got a little base connection here that's about a half an inch thick, and that's the biggest part of the unit. It comes equipped with about 15 feet of coax cable, so you can connect it to just about any TV and move the antenna around. And it includes clips that fit on the corners of the antenna, so it can be mounted via suction cups to a window. In addition, this costs about $45 retail, and that's pretty much within most people's budget. Let's take a look, see how it works. Detachable suction cup mounts make it easy to fasten the Rayzor to any window or other flat surface in your RV. We hung the Rayzor on the side window to start our reception test. Connect the Rayzor to the TV's coax cable input and it's ready for use. With the Rayzor installed, start your TV's channel search feature. You may need to reposition the antenna in a different location for best reception, especially when you're in a remote location. The antenna is designed for over-the-air HVHF and UHF signal reception. We scrolled through a variety of channels and found the Rayzor did the job as advertised. You can also use the Rayzor outside for campsite TV viewing or tailgate parties, for example. For more information on the Rayzor high-definition antenna, visit the Winegard website or log on to our website at rollingontv.com.
While heading to Death Valley on Highway 178, you'll find signs for the Trona Pinnacles. This unusual landscape consists of over 500 tufa pinnacles rising from the bed of the Searles Dry Lake Basin. Some of these pinnacles rise as high as 140 feet. and were formed underwater some 10,000 to 100,000 years ago. Even though it looks like you may have landed on another planet, the area might look a little familiar, as many a movie has been filmed here, including Planet of the Apes and Disney's Dinosaurs, along with many others. Now, where's Jeff? After exploring the pinnacles, it's time to head to the Paramount Springs Resort, located in the beautiful Paramount Valley within the Death Valley National Park. Nestled in the valley, this resort offers some marvelous views of the distant dunes and the soaring 11,000-foot high Paramount Mountains. The resort offers a combination mini-mart and gas station, along with a great restaurant and bar. So, what brings so many people out here to the middle of the desert? Well, it could be the quiet solitude and natural beauty of the desert. Or it could be those delicious 16-ounce ribeye steaks the restaurant's known for. Or yet, it could be that they offer over 100 different varieties of cold beer. Whatever, Paramount Springs seems to be one of those destinations that once you've been here, you just keep coming back. It all starts with pride and ends up being the gold standard in pop-up truck campers. Four-wheel campers. Need we say more? See for yourself by visiting fourwheelcampers.com. When it comes to RV glass and windshield replacement, there's only one name to remember: Duncan Systems. With thousands of windshields and side glass in stock, we are America's #1 source for RV glass replacement. And now, we can even repair those fogged up windows at a fraction of the replacement cost. For more information, including our locations, visit our website at rvglass.com or log on to rollingontv.com. While visiting Paramount Springs Resort, we had an opportunity to sit and talk with Tim Kessel, the father of the family that owns the resort, and asked him to give us a little history about the place.
Agnes Reed, who was the niece of Buffalo Bill Cody, she and her husband moved out here. He worked in the mines, and she needed something to do, so she set up an eating house and ultimately built this place. Now, we don't have a whole lot of written history about it, but what we've kind of pieced together from other people that have been here earlier or knew about the history was that it started out that the rooms were cabins for the miners. Apparently Agnes and her husband owned 4 fairly sizable mines, one of them the Big 4 mine, which is out across the valley here, and which apparently produced some good revenue for them. And that was, I believe, in the 1920s. In 1937 is when I have the first written documentation about the place, and that's when there was apparently an earthquake. And in the earthquake, the springs that were here, the Panamint Springs, dried up. There was apparently a shift in the ground structure of the plates or something, and the springs dried up. So in 1937, Agnes Reed got permits from the state of California to put in a 5-mile pipeline from Darwin Falls to this location to supply water. And then sometime in the early 60s, I believe, what were the miners' cabins and carports were converted into a motel.
And when was the RV part of the operation put in?
The RV park, I believe, has been in place for about 20 years. We have 15 full RV hookups, and they're pull-through sites. They can accommodate large RVs or trucks with pretty good-sized trailers on them. 50 amps service, septic service, and water. We've also got in the neighborhood of 60 or so dry sites. And those have water, even though they're called dry sites. Typically they all have water, but they don't have electricity or sewer service. But they can also accommodate RVs or just campers with tents and things like that.
When is the best time to visit Paramount Springs?
The seasons run kind of strange here. You would think that in the hot summer months it'd be slow, but it's really not. So our busy periods start around July, the beginning of July, and go through the end of October. And then we have a dry spell. A lot of people are staying home. But because we offer a free Thanksgiving dinner to anybody who's here on Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving seems to be a real popular time. In fact, we have people that make their reservations a year in advance just to get here and have a place for Thanksgiving. So our campground is usually full and our rooms are usually full on Thanksgiving. Then it slows down again during the December month and January month. Those are pretty slow. February it starts up again because we get the Americans who want to come out and see the wildflower blooms, and they begin coming in February when it's cool. And that goes up until about the first week of June. And then June is really slow again.
When you visit Paramount Springs, keep in mind that you're away from civilization, so to speak, and modern conveniences that come with it, as Tim explains.
I would characterize Paramount Springs as a rustic resort. Rustic in the fact that we have no electric lines coming in. Everything runs off a generator. We have no telephone lines, and we have very limited cell phone service. If you have an older cell phone that can pick up an analog signal, then you're in luck. You can pick up an analog signal. But if you have any of the newer phones that are digital, then you're out of luck. So when you come out here, expect not to get bothered by civilization. It's pretty nice to not have to connect with everyone. We do, however, offer free internet service. It's limited because of our location and the bandwidth that we have, but if you absolutely have to contact somebody, you can bring a laptop and connect to the internet and send them an email.
We asked Tim to explain why so many people keep returning to the resort year after year.
I don't know exactly what the magic is about this place. I know when my son first called me about 7 years ago and said, "Dad, this place is for sale," my initial reaction was, "Why would I want to buy a place in Death Valley?" And he goes, "No, you've got to come visit it." So my wife and I decided, all right, he's working down there, we'll go down and take a look at it and see. When we got here, we just fell in love with the place. There is something about Paramount Springs that just is captivating. I don't know if it's the gorgeous view across the valley to the mountains, or if it's the quaintness, or the old buildings, or there's something about it that just makes you want to keep coming back. I stand out here in the evening and look out across the valley as the sun's setting, and it's just breathtaking. There's something about it that is captivating. But to put it into words is hard to do. You just have to experience it. And more people than I experience that. They come back year after year. They like the people, they like the food, they like the services, they like the view. Some just like to come and sit on our balcony and enjoy a beer or a soda and look out across the valley and just let all of the cares of civilization drain out of them.
For more information on the new Winegard Rayzor antenna or anything else you've seen on this week's show, along with additional videos and stories, visit our website at rollingontv.com. For the latest up-to-the-minute RV news, visit our media partners at rvbusiness.com.